Years ago, when I started looking at houses, the first house I looked at, I got a surveyor's report, and it showed that the gable wall was coming away from the house. Not the sort of news I wanted to hear, but at least it may help me make my decision. I walked away from that one. And anybody buying a second-hand house, or any sort of old house, would be advised to always get a survey, a professional survey. Now, these can be done by architects, engineers, or chartered building surveyors. Architects, engineers and chartered building surveyors are all qualified to carry out surveys, and getting the right information gives a buyer better bargaining power. If you know that a house needs 30 grand of work put into it, then you can adjust your offer accordingly. Well now, high ceilings. Bay window, beautiful sliding doors of beautiful glass. Well, now that's my first impression. Yeah. And I'm sure you had a first impression when you came into this house, as somebody who's looking at it for a house. What did you think?
I think it kind of ticked all the boxes, everything that we ever wanted, or even, aspire to. It's the type of house that you're going to live in for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Big family house.
Yeah, it had the high ceilings, which was plus the covings, the bay window out front, big back garden.
But now, obviously, you're not the sort of person that wants to move into a house that's all done, because look, my guess is that it's an executor sale.
Yeah. It's like everything else. I mean, it's a big purchase. It's probably the last purchase I ever going to make. I'll come out of here in a box.
Right.
But it needs a surveyor's report, because I'm afraid of rot, dampness, structural problems.
But have you seen any signs of that? Because look, you've bought houses before, so would you not think, well,
I've seen a crack or two around the place, but that means nothing. I mean, it's what the surveyors, they know what they're looking for. They know exactly where to drill into to see where the problems are.
Now, the guy who's interested in buying this house has commissioned you to come, you're a chartered surveyor, to come and do a survey on the house. Now, what was your first instinct when you walked in the door?
The house has been neglected for a number of years, obviously. In a house of this age, I would expect to find a list or a catalogue of defects. In particular, what I would normally do is start from the outside and then work in and top to bottom.
Yeah, okay. So it's methodical in that way.
Indeed,
okay.
You have
to
be.
You have your clipboard.
I have my clipboard. My clipboard is a 32-page checklist, effectively, and that will basically help me to make sure that I've got a comment on every element of the property, from the chimney pots to the foundations, and from internally from the rafters to the floor tiles down here. So basically everything is covered with items including the services. Although we're not electricians or plumbers, we still have a fairly good idea of the condition, as it were.
Okay, so you're going to start your survey now by just having a quick glance around the house, and I'm going to follow you just for that. I'm not going to stay the full 4 hours now, mind you, but so let's crack on and see what this is like. So Sean, you've been through the house, you've done your complete survey, you've got all your checklist all written out. I know obviously you haven't your report written, but what are the main things that you found?
The main things are there is some structural movement appear to be due to defective drains, and the roofs are leaking, and the brickwork and rendering needs some maintenance and repair. Obviously, basically to make the house wind and weather tight. Once you've done that, we can address the internal aspects in respect of woodworm infestation and decoration and so on. So
next step is you go back to the office?
I go back to the office, I write this report up. The client will then receive from us a circa 30-page report highlighting all the elements that we found. then we will normally have a conversation. He will ring me up and ask me to walk him through the report, as it were, because it can be quite negative. In a house of this, there's nothing in a house like this that's insurmountable, in that can't be repaired or can't be fixed. Obviously, a cost will be attached to that. Okay, Bernice, we've had a quick wander around, and I'm going to start my real survey once you have left me. But from my initial thoughts, the house needs a lot of attention. In particular, the roof is defective and leaking. We've got some repointing on the front brickwork. The external joinery, including the windows and doors, is decayed, and the decorations are perished. We've got woodworm, damp ingress.
So quite a lot for Sean to think about.
Structural movement. It's all here.
Right. So where will it be? So what happens next then after that? After
the report, I'm going to take my notes back once I finish them to the office, and a 30-page report will be prepared for the client, and then that will be issued to him within the next 5 working days.
So he can take that to his architect, but more than that, he can take it to the vendor, he can take it to the estate agent and say, look, this house needs X, Y and Z. Here's my surveyor's report. It's going to cost X, Y and Z. I need that knocked off the price. So basically, a surveyor's report is a good bargaining chip.
Indeed.
Okay, so this is the report that you got from Sean, the Chartered Surveyor. It looks really comprehensive. There's some really scary photos in here that would scare me, but was there anything in this that scared you?
No, absolutely not. Anything that I'd seen around the house, it was mentioned in and more, but towards the end of the report, it gives me confidence to say that there's nothing in that's happening here that shouldn't allow us to go ahead with the purchase of this house. Okay. So we're going ahead with it.
Great. Buyer beware is always the advice, no matter what you're buying. But if you're buying the biggest investment of your life, if it's a second-hand or old house, get a surveyor's report. It'll help you make your decision. That's it for today. And if you want any more information on any of the topics we've covered in the Property Show, email us at info@city.ie. Thanks for watching. Till next time. Goodbye.